Good evening and welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting for Monday, April 10th, 2023. Time is 7:01 PM. Discussion, mail, letter from Office of Dam Safety is in your packet. I believe. Could be in the mail. And since we have one member on remote, I'll do a roll call vote to start us off.
Eric Harris here.
Mike Greco here.
Mark Mungem here.
Katie Dudley here.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Okay, thank you. All right, and then the Office of Dam Safety letter, is that? Somewhere? Oh, here it is. In the mail. Okay, it's just an FYI for Douglas Mill Pond Dam.
Couple of them, yeah.
Safety order. Significant hazard. Old Mill Pond Dam and Douglas Mill Pond Dam. Board members, any questions?
I don't think that's in the package. I don't think the mail's in the package.
No,
Nope, I don't see it.
it's just a notice to let us know.
Of non-compliance, right?
Yes.
Enforcing it.
Certificate of non-compliance and dam safety order. So they're probably coming in front of us soon.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, I was confused by the schedule or the time frame because it seemed like it was, the issue was given in like 2021, and they had until May 23rd to have it resolved. And now it's April 10th, and they haven't seen
That's why
anything.
they issued, the Office of Dam Safety issued the
Yeah.
letter.
So you can request, as your date gets closer, you can request 6 months, 8 months out.
Yeah.
So they're pretty, as long as you're communicating with them until there's a real, I mean, this is a significant hazard potential.
Very, yeah.
So both of these are.
Yep,
So then they kind of bring the hammer down on that.
right?
So, yeah, they should be, we don't know what the scope of the work is, but spillway crest, missing stones, so probably aquatic growth along upstream face of the dam, concrete deteriorated, missing safety rails, so some activities. We'll just help them along. Maintenance too. Okay. Letters from Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
I don't know if that's addressed to us, but it was sent to the commission.
Scoping document 1 for MSC hydroelectric project. Located in Wyndham County, Connecticut. Okay. I think they're doing requests for comments. Okay. Guess we were on the list. Oh, yeah.
Do transmission lines come through Douglas, maybe?
Yeah, they're saying the location of the project in the Quinnebog River Basin. And it comes up to Old Sturbridge Village area and then comes down. Another FYI. Letter from Law Office of Keith K. Fuller, 34 Hemlock Street, Douglas. Foreclosure by sale under power of sale for breach of condition. Do we have An open order of conditions? Oh, designated forest, agricultural, horticultural, recreational.
Yeah, I think they're taken out of forestry.
61, yep, it's in 61A and B. Oh,
Right first refusal for the town.
okay. Okay, so that's 34 Hemlock Street. Email letter from Open Space and Recreation Plan 2023.
That might be in the list.
It is.
Requesting review of Open Space and Recreation Plan for Douglas. There's a link. Draft plan has been submitted to the state to get the process started. Process requires support letters from Board of Selectmen and Planning Board. Support letters from other boards not required would be helpful. So they're looking for a letter completed by May 4th. And our meeting is May 8th, so not sure. Board, if we want to take a peek at this, Steve, did you see anything on this?
I did not review it.
I haven't reviewed it either, but I mean, I expected to review it and maybe respond personally. Is that acceptable?
Yeah. So I think if you relay to Steve before May 4th
Yeah, and CC Jen and
as a letter, yeah.
Jen Kuchar.
Okay.
And they have sample support letters too. Link placed on Open Space webpage. Okay, so the link is on Open Space webpage on our website. And then Eric brought in the Douglas Beautification Committee and Conservation Commission event, Douglas Townwide Cleanup, April 22nd, 2023, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Drop-off event location is the Douglas Highway Garage. Is there someone in the audience that would like to speak on this? Nope. That was Madeline, right? Okay. So could we put this flyer up on our webpage? Can you send it?
Email it?
I can email it.
Okay,
That'd be great.
just so it's easier for people to find, we can have that too.
Thanks.
Okay. Meeting minutes and orders to sign.
I don't think we have meeting minutes, but we
Nope.
have plenty of orders from
Okay, we'll send those around.
all in front of you.
Okay. Then we have one other item, February 28th, but received March 6th. Grow Native for Pollinators Campaign Forum. Town of Oxford, Department of Public Works and Conservation, inviting, held on March 29th. So we missed it, but sure they have information. Okay. Review, update CRG 105 and 123 Gilboa Street. Is anyone here for that? To give us an update. Name and address, please.
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Todd Morey with Beals Associates. I'm here representing CRG. With me also is Devin Howe. He's really more for a later agenda item, as well as Jeff Derigo for that later agenda item. But I think Art Allen will have some input on what I have to say this evening as well. So there was a situation while they were drilling the piers for the bridge that crosses over the river. And we had, from what I could tell from site observations and web photos, it looks like there were 3 separate incidents that occurred out there, all within about an 8 or 9 day time frame. So on March 14th, they were drilling for the horizontal piers on the north side, ran into some boulders, and as they were drilling through those boulders, the dust from the boulders came back up through. For the most part, it was falling straight back down onto the ground, but when the wind would pick up a little bit, it would blow into the area between the sheeting and the silt log, getting closer to the river. From what I can tell, from looking around out there, I don't think there was anything that entered the water on that date. That was right around March 14th. And that went on for probably about 3 hours, between 3 and 4 hours. Then on March 21st, they were doing a similar operation, but they were doing the angled piers at that point. And those piers angled, as you go from top to bottom, they angle towards Gilboa Street. So the boom stretches up and above where those sheet piles are, above the edge of the water. In order to drill down through that, they were also using a pressurized water jet to help get them through, help clear some of the soil, because as that starts to get deep, they get pretty close to a new water line that the town has just recently had installed through there. While that was going on, same condition, the backwash coming up out of that pipe was getting blown around a little bit. On March 21st, it did go into the river. We do have photographs of sediment floating on top of the water. It was carried downstream. I do not know how far it went, but that went on for about an hour, it looks like, on that day. Later photos of the day show that stopped. I think it probably stopped when the wind shifted. I know there was Bob Manerick was out there on that day that it happened. He was one of the people that alerted me to the wind condition helping this, or not helping this situation very much. And I think it was either that day or maybe the day after that Mr. Allen was out there and took photographs of the sediment log, the sediment that was out there. And the reason I think it was like that day or the day after is the sediment log was actually partially washed off in Mr. Allen's photographs. I had actually seen it completely covered, so that the whole log was gray. You couldn't see any of the green in the log at all. By the time Mr. Allen got there, some of that had come off. So I'm pretty sure it was after the operation with the high pressure water jet, because the water probably took some of the sediment off the log. So the conversations that ensued after that, besides the explanation of what happened, was, well, what do we do to stop this? What do we do to prevent this from happening? Without trying to sound flippant about it, the easiest thing we can do to prevent it from happening has been done. That piece of equipment is no longer on the site. That operation is over. There's no more drilling that's going on there. If you've been by there, you know they're forming and pouring the abutments, sealing off the pile caps that are in the ground. I've asked Clayco and their bridge subcontractor, MAS Bridge, to completely replace all of that silt sock all along that northern edge. I'd also like them, to the extent that they can, to clean up all that debris that's between the silt sock and the sheet pile. And once again, I've warned them, absolutely no, I don't want workers beyond that sheet pile. I don't want things being stored behind that sheet pile. I've gone out there a couple of times and just seen whether it's a cone. And I think in the last round of photographs I showed you, there was a cone that had a lead preserver buoy on it. Even that, I don't want anything beyond that sheet pile. That was one of the reasons for putting that sheet pile in, if you recall, during the design discussions, and that's to serve as that barrier, that visual and physical barrier, that absolutely nothing is to occur out there. So my expectation is that, and I didn't go out there today, but if that hasn't been replaced by the next inspection, I need them to stop doing what they're doing and replace that silt sock and then clean up through that area.
Okay, thank you very much. Steve, any comments?
I don't have any. I think Art might.
Okay. Is he on the line?
Yes.
He is. Art Allen from Ecotech here. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Yeah, so the first time I noticed the soil, dust, whatever it was, over the silt sock and down onto the riverbank was on March 24th. So I would agree with Todd that was, I was there just a couple days after that, the discharge that he noted that got into the river. I could see some fresh sediment right along the edge of the river at the toe of the bank. and that's when I raised the issue. Obviously Todd, came back with a thorough explanation and response. He obviously put some time into researching this and figuring it out, which I certainly appreciate. And then as of the last time I was on site, April 6th, they had a new silt sock the entire length out there, and they had cleaned up that area between the pilings and the silt sock, and definitely looked a lot better out there. Obviously it shouldn't have happened in the first place. When it did happen, they should have come to the commission. I know talking to Clayco right from the start, they knew how sensitive the river was. They were, promised to go above and beyond to protect the river, to keep anything out of the river. But then, this happened. Obviously somebody knew it happened. And, until I brought it up, it didn't really wasn't treated as any kind of significant issue, and clearly they had a discharge, into the river. So anyway, so that being said, I agree with Todd. The machine's gone that caused this issue. They've cleaned up, I think, pretty much as best they can out there. So I don't see this being an ongoing issue. But obviously I'll, defer to the board. We have in forwarding my last comments to Uxbridge, obviously we're right on the Uxbridge town line. Anything that gets in the river there goes right downstream into Uxbridge. Uxbridge has been concerned about, sediment getting over the town line on the east side of the site, which has happened a couple times. So they've asked me to keep them in the loop, which I've done, but then I copied them on my last email. Emily Petro, the Uxbridge agent, came back and asked to have a site visit, which has been set up for this Thursday, the 13th at 1 o'clock. We're meeting at the construction trailer over on the south side of the site off Northeast Main Street. I know at least one commissioner and maybe somebody else from town administration has expressed interest in trying to attend that site visit, but that's coming up this Thursday. I know I'll be there, and Emily from Uxbridge is going to be there. So we're going to meet at the trailer, check in with Clayco folks, and then make our way around to the bridge site, which is a little bit difficult, as you probably know these days, with everything going on Gilboa Street, but we'll get there. The only other thing I noticed on my last inspection was that they had quite a bit of dirt accumulating on the edge of Gilboa next to the construction site, and they had 2 unprotected catch basins in the gutter line there that could receive that material if and when we get rain and it runs off. So the MAS, the bridge folks that I spoke to out there, said they had silt sacks and they were going to install them in those 2 down gradient catch basins. I've also asked their SWIP inspectors from SWCA to include those in their weekly inspections, inspecting those and make sure they stay in place and in good condition. So basically that's the only other thing I have out there right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern from this was is the reporting. If things happen on the site, I think that we should be notified about it. And so what Art said is correct. I mean, we've had 3 different occurrences of sediment getting past the barriers. And on all 3 of them, it was Art or us that brought it to their attention instead of the developer and their agents bringing it to our attention. So I think they need to, improve upon their reporting of these issues.
Okay. Todd, who is the person responsible for the erosion controls on site? Who's the point person?
Well, the people doing the weekly reviews is SWCA, and they're the ones, and I believe I'm hoping they're filing their reports with you.
They are.
Okay,
Yeah, we forwarded.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
okay.
But as far as the day-to-day contact on the site, that would be Tom Lemaster at Clayco. And if for some bizarre reason you couldn't get a hold of him, it would then fall to Mitch Roush. But I know I think Mitch is there every other week, but I believe Tom is there almost every single day. So
Okay.
he would be the point person at Clayco.
Okay, so can we
But
request,
SWCA is the one who's really doing the inspections and should be making the recommendations and the follow-ups and things like that.
yeah, depending on when they make it weekly, it could have missed the 6 days. So we need Tom to be notified that any issues that occur, send it along the communication to everyone that needs to know. So not just waiting until Art does his next site inspection. So if any other issues occur, he needs to notify whomever he needs to notify, within 24 hours of the event. And then confirming that the catch basins have their silt sacks in them. And when is that pile of dirt moving? Can you give us a
Which-
timeline, the one next to Gilboa that Art mentioned?
Oh, no, it's not a pile. It's just just a buildup of soil just along that gutter line from their regular operations. I mean, they in addition to the silt sacks, I mean, they should just it's just a matter of sweeping the street is really all they need to do
Okay.
periodically to take care of that.
And I'm sure that's part of your conditions with planning board.
I'm sure it's not only planning board conditions, it's probably in your order of conditions as well, so.
Okay,
And
so,
it's definitely on our erosion control plans, so that's something we put on there.
Okay.
I think part of that's probably from this bridge operation, and some of it maybe from some of the ongoing construction that's been out there in the infrastructure, but.
all right, well, let's tidy it up and tighten it up on the communication and making sure that everything is what it's supposed to be.
Mr. Lemaster will receive notification of that before I speak to you again later this evening on another matter.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Does the commission want to post a site walk or just have,
go at your leisure.
okay,
The one that you're talking
on
about
Thursday?
on Thursday?
Is anyone besides one other member going out? Okay. All right, fine.
I expressed an interest in going out. I had expressed an interest in going out actually 2 Saturdays ago. And,
Yeah, I saw the emails.
And yeah, but I never heard back from anybody on that, so, yeah, so I'm going to try to attend on this Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, excellent, thank
Yeah, just,
you.
if anybody that does go out, just please be sure to check in at Clayco's trailer. They just have some quick safety protocols, because there's a lot of different contractors, different disciplines, different operations going on in various parts of the site. So safety is a primary concern for them.
Yes, okay. Mark?
Appreciate that.
Yep, thank you. Okay, good?
Good.
Okay. Moving on, review update, BWC White and Reservoir, 45 Oak Street. Art, did you have anything for an update?
Sure, yeah, I was out last week to follow up on the tree cutting and see what kind of progress they'd made on the construction entrance. Basically, they finished the tree cutting. They have not moved any trees or slash off the site. It's all stockpiled on the site right now, waiting to get the construction entrance in and be able to get equipment off the street. They just had one, I think it was a Feller Buncher type machine, logging machine that they had in there, but no other trucks, no traffic on or off the site at this point. I I was in contact with the contractors late last week, and they said they would be putting the construction entrance in this week and doing there's some fairly minor repairs to some of the siltation control barriers that needs to be done just due to, the tree felling operations, which they've committed to take care of that, and that they'll be working on the construction entrance this week. I'll be checking in on the site Thursday when I'm in town for the Cubes of Jerboa sidewalk, and I'll have an update after that. But yeah, no issues at 45 Oak Street. They're making slow progress out there.
Okay, great. Yes?
My only comment, Art, do you know if they plan on constructing the detention ponds and utilizing those as sediment basins right away?
Yeah, that's in the early stages. I mean, basically, as soon as they get the construction entrance in and can stabilize and get their equipment off the street and staged up, my understanding is they're moving to those basins, because it's the only way they can really control that roadway up the steep hill to get into the larger part of the site. So that's my understanding and what I'll be looking for as we go along out there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Art. Board, any comments or questions? No? No. Okay, all right. Number 5, review discussion on culvert plan for 115 Shore Road. In your packet, we have a request to continue to May 8th meeting. So we will put that on for 2 more weeks for May 8th under discussion. Discussion 175 Southwest Main Street. Is someone here for that? Come on.
Where would you like me to speak?
If you can fit there,
Yep.
is good.
If I could interrupt just briefly, Art Allen again.
Yes.
Do you need me for anything else?
The last ANRAD maybe?
Okay, I can, once we're finished this discussion item, we can take that item if that's okay with Todd, if his people are on. A couple minutes, Art. Todd, is that okay?
Whatever, just checking. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's fine if you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Name and address.
Good evening. My name is Byron Andrews, Andrews Surveying Engineering and Dupree Engineering. I'm here with Mr. Lloyd Moran, who is the owner of the property in question. Also, I have reduced size and full-size copies of the plan and the letter we prepared. If you need any, I imagine you probably already have it.
I
But
think we have,
Okay.
if the last plan date, do you have a revised
Is it in your package?
12/6/21? Nope.
This is more recent.
Oh, this is what you want to amend?
Yes, that's the one that.
You're
I said-
proposing to
That's what we're proposing, yeah.
Thank you. Still no new date?
No, we're just using this as an illustration for right now. We're actually, we're here to ask the commission's opinion on how to proceed.
I'm going to give a history, so like a couple, was it last year? You got any
21.
Yeah.
to do some work with, along Bad Luck Pond?
Laurel Lake,
Crystal.
Crystal Lake, Laurel Lake, all those.
So-
Okay,
So at the time, the most important part of the discussion was the flood storage.
yes.
Because Mr. Moran wanted to install a garage, and the driveway going up to the garage would also take some flood storage. When we were looking at it, though, and we went out, I think, possibly with Steve, with someone from the commission. Were you out there?
Well, I think we all did a sidewalk.
We all did the site walk, yeah. So if you recall, it was apparent that that area had been excavated in order to put the house there, so that area for flood storage was actually in excess of what the flood plans would have used in their calculations. And so we calculated what that volume was and what was required in order to do his changes, and we determined that what had been excavated was in excess of what would be required, so it wouldn't need any additional compensatory flood storage. When we did that, we didn't examine the entire area that could be considered for that. We basically examined a limited area that was what was necessary in order to put in what we were proposing. Subsequent to that, we found out that because of the foundation for the house itself, being in the flood zone, would need additional protection around it because of the hydrodynamic forces if there was a flood. So what we're proposing is a retaining wall filled with earth. Retaining wall would be less than 4 feet, so it wouldn't be a structural retaining wall, around the portions of the house that are the living area and that would have foundation. Obviously, when we do that, it needs more flood storage. So we did calculations of the remaining area that we believe had been excavated. And on the plans, you can see the difference between that is the green area and the blue area. The blue area is what we added to the calculations now. When we do that, we come up with totals of, if I can find my notes, 196 cubic yards had been removed, and 174 is proposed to be replaced for all of the stuff shown on this plan. Having said that, obviously, we don't have a permit application before the commission. What we're asking now is, in the commission's opinion, can we go for a amended order of conditions, or would this be a new order of conditions if we were proposing this?
I think that you would do an amended, in
Okay.
my opinion,
Okay.
because the activity, the category is the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is the purpose? So what happened? Why are you expanding it? I know this was very, it was kind of on the edge. So you have to do this, it's been determined the existing house has to have the retaining wall around it for flood protection?
Yeah, for flood protection and for protection from the the hydrostatic, I guess, it's not hydrodynamic.
But it's
hydrostatic
there,
force.
it's existing.
But at this time, the foundation that's there is a stone foundation. So it wouldn't have the same sort of pressure against it, because it's pervious in
Okay.
places. And we're proposing an actual, poured foundation.
All right, that wasn't proposed on the original order issued. There was no foundation work to the existing, to be raised. This is it appears very complex, all the regulations colliding and what's existing there. Because I know we hugged it really tight purposefully, and then there was a little bit of wetland that was missed on the side there. So I guess you'd have to make a case on, are you making this better, or are you making it more impactful?
Well, we would argue that it is less impactful than the conditions were prior to the construction of the house, when the flood maps would have been prepared. Because the area where the house is, if you recall, was kind of excavated down from the road.
Yeah, and can you use previous, so as far as like compensatory storage, in the regulation, you're allowed to use what used to be there?
Yeah, that's what the commission determined last year.
Is that what the reg reads? Is that how it reads?
I don't
Last
think
year-
there's any regulations that actually speak to that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of clearing, so I'm just wondering, what's the, I mean, we don't have to get too far into it, but I would really think about, because it was tough to get the commission convinced to do this plan. So I guess why are you coming back and expanding the limit of work? You really have to have a good reason why. Because I think that was the best you were gonna get on the other one, to leave that land untouched and uncleared. And now you're clearing all the way, so you'd have to, not just that retaining wall.
Well, the area, the plan may be a little busy. We're not proposing any work in the other areas. The only work that we're proposing is around the retaining wall. That's all that would be in addition to the current permit. The other areas shown are just the areas we're using in our calculations, and they're illustrating what areas we're using for them.
Okay, so that's gonna have to be clarified, because it appears, well, it says area of clearing, proposed tree line, limit of work, is the very edge of the property. I'm talking about this side. So you moved it from the approved plan, you moved it, let's see, 50 feet almost? 40 feet?
I don't believe so. I don't think we had the room to do that.
This is the original. You're saying
Yeah.
This is your limit of clearing?
Yeah.
Now you're along the property line.
Oh, no. That's, I'm sorry. That was done, that's not correct. I don't think we're
I
Okay,
hope
working
not.
out.
okay,
Yeah.
so I was
Yeah,
getting.
that would be
I was-
kind of contradictory to what we're trying to achieve.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I just, that's,
So we'll
When
look
I-
at, we'll look at that plan
That
again
was
before.
That would be
discussed
very
with the neighbors,
significant.
with the neighbors to keep those trees.
Yeah, and I know Mr. Lloyd doesn't want to lose the
Right.
trees either.
and I also see he owns the adjacent parcel. So is there any alternative to using land on that side for anything?
No.
No? Okay. Yeah, so I think if you haven't started the activities yet, right, you haven't started
not.
anything on the original order, I think you amend the original order.
Okay, all right, so we'll file for that, and we'll also
Not
update the plan.
expanding, just
Yeah.
modifying,
Right,
not expanding your
yeah.
scope.
If this plan that's approved, and then in red, just do everything you want to amend.
And then put a date on
So
it.
the red- the amendment pops.
Yeah.
The commission and everyone else exactly what you're changing.
Yeah, that makes
Everything
sense.
else
Yeah.
is going to start blending.
Yeah, and put a revised plan date,
Yep,
and that
So,
should
yeah,
be, that should be
It's
good.
just like an NOI, but you're just amending,
yeah,
but amend on top of the application.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
yeah.
thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you for coming in.
Do the notice, for the amended notice, okay, that will give you
Yeah.
For the notification to abutters
for the, and the legal.
and the legal ad. Yep, okay.
Thank you.
All right, good luck, thank you.
What these?
You can take them, but just submit the one file.
Okay, next item, we're gonna take out of order. For, it's gonna be number 13, public hearing continued, ANRAD, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, Gilboa Street, North Street, Route 146, maps 113 to 115, lots 1 to 3, 1 to 2, and 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8.
So-
Okay.
So real quick, so there's three things going on. So you have the ANRAD, which I think Todd and Art will talk about. You have the violation, which is part of our report. And then we had an email from Mr. Murray, which I think Andy might be here to talk about too, about some type of regulations with their mining operation that they have to do, put some guardrails in and how to permit that. And I asked them to come in today because there's a lot going on with all these different permits. And so just real quick, I was going to be discussing that, so.
Okay, so the old business, the public hearing is the ANRAD. So associated with the ANRAD was the discovery of a violation, correct?
Right.
So, Art, did you want to give us an update or go over what you think is important with the ANRAD portion?
Sure. Yeah, Art Allen from Ecotech, a consultant for the commission doing peer review. So I reviewed the ANRAD, starting with sidewalks on March 10th and 13th, summarized my initial comments in a report to the commission dated March 16th of this year. Included in those comments were my findings on it was actually two separate areas where I noticed violations. One was at the crossing between the two different parts of the active mining operation, crossing of Gilboa Brook. Existing, I mean, that crossing seems to have been there for many years. It's a corrugated pipe culvert in some level of disrepair, but essentially when I was out there, they had recently regraded the slopes of that crossing. There's a picture, thank you. It was kind of a compost, semi-fine soil material that they had used on the slopes, and they had put some processed gravel on the surface of that roadway. But they didn't have any erosion controls. I wasn't aware that they had any permits for the work. So I brought it up initially in my report. That went up their chain of command. They almost immediately put in the staked straw wattles at the perimeters. And then shortly after that, they hydroseeded those slopes with mulch. So they took some pretty quick and immediate steps to correct those problems. They had an explanation of why they did that work, and I can't quite recollect. I mean, my main concern was just to get it stabilized and get something in front of the commission. But so they did that stabilization work anyway. I know there's other things going on with that crossing. I think you'll be discussing tonight. But that was one issue. The other issue was on the other side of the site. It was in the vicinity of wetland flags. Let's see. Wetland flag 105 on parcel 5, where they had evidently gone in after the delineation was done, obviously, because one of the wetland flags was actually knocked down and run over. They had gone out there evidently to do some testing, gotten basically kind of cut off one flag, one edge of the wetland, knocked some trees down into the wetland. Again, I brought that to their attention. They got out there quickly, cleaned that up, removed the debris from the wetlands. So again, that issue was taken care of. I mean, why? Not quite sure why they would be out there testing in areas where they already had a delineation, testing in that close to the wetland, knowing that the commission has no disturbed setbacks. There's obviously another disconnect there somewhere. But anyway, those issues were at least addressed in the short term. The revised plans were submitted to address my comments on the ANRAD and the delineation. They were revised through March 29th of this year. I reviewed those and found that all my comments had been properly addressed and located on the revised plan. They actually did a nice job in identifying those areas where they made the revisions. They're pretty clearly distinguished on the plans. So that was great. And then as late as at my last report, April 4th, the DEP file number had not been issued. I guess it was issued actually at the end of that day I wrote my report. Looks like it came out at about 6 o'clock at night. DEP's putting in overtime, I guess.
Yeah.
But they had several comments that actually Steve and I discussed after the DEP file number came out. One of them was on the transition of Gilboa Brook from intermittent to perennial. And I had agreed with the ANRAD designation of that transition point. It's a point in the field where actually two relatively small tributary streams join to form the main stem of the brook. So I had agreed that both based on the USGS mapping and my observations in the field, that was an appropriate point to make that designation of intermittent to perennial. And then they also, DEP also commented that at the point where a stream becomes perennial, riverfront area begins at a line drawn as a semicircle with a 200-foot radius. I actually missed that, mea culpa on my part, but regardless, I believe that whole riverfront area and that part of the site is within an extensive BVW area, so it's really not, doesn't really have any impact other than just, a technical point. And then they commented on the areas that were requested for review, and just to clarify that other wetland areas, not included in the ANRAD review are not verified. I think the commission's well aware of that. And, again, I reviewed the entire site, walked all the perimeters, transected the site, did not find any other undelineated resource areas outside, of the delineated boundaries. So that's essentially my summary. Thank you.
Thank you. Applicant have anything to say?
Well, as far as the delineation and those items go, I'm glad Art missed the semicircle too, because I'm not really sure how many of these I've done over the last 30 years, but it's more than 2. So one thing that amazes me about certain portions of the Wetlands Protection Act, especially the riverfront section, the 1058 section, is I think I read that section more than any other section of the Wetlands Protection Act, because there's so many little intricacies there. So we went back, we added that semicircle arc on there, on the
Oh, great,
Okay.
thanks.
final plans that came in. So I think we're all in agreement on that. I don't think we have any issues. As far as the areas that were cleaned up, I'm not really sure what happened down by the crossing, other than I know our geotech guys got in there and did an exploration and a test pit, because they know we're going to be eventually in the future looking to widen that crossing, and we'll have to do some kind of a foundation. Good news is it won't be a foundation like over at the Mumford River. It'll probably just be a poured concrete spread footing that we'll put an arch over, I think. The other one up in that wetland area, I have no explanation for you why our geotech guy went out there and drilled out there. That's far out of our footprint. It's not even close to any pavements or retaining walls or anything, even on our concept plans. So I'm kind of wondering if they just got a little bit off of where they should have been, and they did an exploration out there, and that's what was done out there. That's the work that was actually done out there. They went out with a track drill rig and put a hole in the ground. So
Okay, so that activity happened after the flags were hung?
I think it did. Yeah.
Okay.
The flags were hung in mid to late, probably late summer, early fall of last year, and those geotech borings happened probably. Geez, Devin, do you recall when the geotechs were out there? Was that like November, December?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think it was November, December when they went out there. So,
Okay. So that's one area violation over there.
yeah, they actually, for them to actually do that, get into those areas, they can get into buffers and things like that without, that's exempted in the Wetlands Protection Act. I know it's probably against your local regulations.
Yeah, for exploratory testing, but you're saying that
Yeah.
he shouldn't have even been out there and
I
the
don't think they
flag
should have been in that
was
area. Yeah.
right next to it and knocked over a tree, knocked over a flag, did some destruction. So that was where was it a pine tree was knocked into the wetland?
I believe so,
Yeah, so you know that you're not supposed to do that. I know you can do exploratory testing.
No, I'm not trying to make an excuse for them. I'm just saying they somehow got out there and they probably shouldn't have, but.
Okay, and then the crossing violation. Do you
So
want to
that-
speak to that?
That-
Name and address?
Yeah, so that, Andy Leonard from Pine Sand. I believe that Bob Fairbanks, the geotech, was doing his geotech testing for the proposed footage of a future culvert.
He's behind you, Mike.
The what? No.
No, Mike was just asking who's talking. He
Oh.
couldn't see him online.
Oh. So we just went out and spread some compost, some stump grinding.
Okay.
To clean up their exploratory.
Anything get into the stream
No.
over there? No erosion occurred?
No.
Okay. Board questions on the ANRAD?
Not on the ANRAD, I have a question about the crossing that was improved upon.
Okay, do you want to speak what activities happened to improve for that crossing? Did you guys do recent work?
So the recent work, Art's still on, but the recent work was to spread compost over the areas that they excavated. What they were doing out there was, at the stream crossing, was doing soil testing to get the KIPS for the proposed footings.
Right.
So then we cleaned it up and then just spread stone over the path.
Okay, so I think what the question was, did you improve that crossing
Only with the stone.
from like 1 year ago?
No.
It's
No.
always been like that,
Yeah, so all we did was spread stone over the.
to stabilize.
I thought that the banks looked like they had been disturbed and receded, so weren't the
They were,
banks?
they were disturbed by the soil exploration
For the footing,
for the footing.
for the crossing.
So, for the future project, when they were doing all of the soil testing on the combined properties. So what we did was clean up what they left behind by digging holes, if that makes sense.
So there was no improvements
No.
to that crossing?
It wasn't raised.
No.
Is that what you saw as well, Art?
Yeah, I would say they just stabilized that existing crossing. I mean, and they did a nice job. You know, it's just that it was new work, and you know, I was surprised to see it as, you know, as part of an ANRAD, and you know, the fact that there were no erosion controls in place made me think that maybe they hadn't talked to the Conservation Commission
Right.
before they did the work, even though, you know, again, it was, they did a nice job at kind of stabilizing, and there was no evidence of impacts at the point that I was out there. And at this point, I think they've, you know, between the erosion controls and then, you know, seeding and mulching, I think, you know, I think the area is stable now.
So
Okay, thanks.
typically, yeah, typically we would issue a fine for the violations. So, Katie Grace? Is she with us? She's away.
I don't see her.
Yeah, she's just coming.
There we go, I got the unmute button, thank you.
Oh.
No, I just didn't have any, oh, actually, one question on this. Where does the path go? I can see that one end is at the gravel pit, is the other end down by the mill?
So This crossing goes to be an area behind the mill.
Yeah, behind the mill, but on
Okay, thank you.
You need to mute your volume.
That's not me.
Wait, it wasn't?
Yeah, I'd be amenable to a fine.
Okay, so considering, I'm getting an echo.
Must be Katie Grace.
Is anyone in the room on a device with it unmuted?
No. Oh, it was Katie Grace. Somehow. She must be on 2 devices, maybe. I don't know. So considering that they did the speedy repair and there was no impacts, I would probably suggest $100 fine per each violation. So the crossing violation and the disturbance of the wetland flagging and the geotech drilling at the wetland and geotech drilling at the crossing. That would be my suggestion.
I'd be okay with that.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. It's Katie Grace.
Sorry, I'll make the motion then. Make a motion to issue a fine in the amount of, was that $400 for the $400 violations? Or,
We'll do 100 for the crossing disturbance and 100 for the exploratory testing that appears to be unnecessary near the BBW. Knocking a tree over and
That would be 200.
total. Just wanted to make it separate because I think 2 different people might have been responsible, not sure. So I'll entertain a
I feel like
motion.
that number is a little low.
Yeah, I prefaced it by saying, consider that it was remedied very quickly, responsively, and there was no erosion or sediment that went into any resource areas.
I'm just saying, on a project like that seems like an insignificant amount of money, but I would agree to it versus no fine.
I think the bylaw says up to 300.
Yeah, I can't talk when she's on. It's up to the board. I had just suggested it, but I'll entertain a motion so we can move forward with our night. It's my phone.
I thought Katie Grace just did make that motion.
She did
so I'll
not.
second it.
She did not make a motion.
Oh,
I can't speak when she's speaking, so if she unmutes.
I don't have a second device, so I don't know why there's an echo. But anyways, yeah, I would make the motion that we issue 2 fines, $300 for each fine, for a total of a $600 fine for the violation.
Motion made.
Second.
Second by Mike. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mongemi.
KG Dudley, aye.
Okay. Now, anyone in the audience have any questions or comments on the ANRAD for this project? Seeing none online, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mongemi.
KG Dudley, aye.
Okay. I will entertain another motion to issue the ORAD.
So approved, so made.
Second.
So moved by Mark, seconded by Mike. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mongemi.
KG Dudley, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, there was one other question about the mining regulations and guardrail requirement.
Yeah, if I
Did you
could-
want to briefly
Yeah, briefly. I can make it quick, I'll pass these out quick. So basically, MSHA, which is like the OSHA for mining,
Yes?
came to the site. They come 3 or 4 times a year, and
Thanks.
they won't allow us to go over that crossing anymore
Okay.
because there's perceived hazard that a truck could fall into over the shoulder. So anywhere inside the site, currently, we put berms up. So we questioned MSHA and just said, could we put a guardrail there? And that fell within their parameters.
Okay.
So we drew this proposed guardrail, and there's probably 200 feet of guardrail. If we can put it in, and the best way to do it, whether it's a request for determination. I think the thought, Steve, was that if we did an NOI, that it would affect what,
Well, yeah, it could affect the timing, because, correct me if I'm wrong, Art and Todd, you can't have 2 NOIs on one property at the same time, so it's up to you and the project.
yeah.
As long as the NOIs don't overlap, if they're for separate projects, you can have multiple NOIs on the same property.
Property. So I think the scope of the impacts would determine if you are going to do an RDA.
We're disturbing, we think, 1 square foot for each post, 40 square feet. In the roadway, not in the slope. Is what we're doing.
And then as far as the erosion controls that are proposed, would you beef up the ones that are already there?
We would put some on right behind the proposed guardrail, up high.
Okay.
And we have the ones below the stump grindings. We put.
And time frame for work to be completed, start to finish?
Be 3, we think 3 days, 4 days tops to do.
Okay. And mostly temporary disturbance with the posts being the
Metal
only,
guardrail.
yeah, the post would be the only permanent disturbance within the buffer only. And you've already got it flagged, right? So you would have a plan for distances.
Yep.
Is it like 25 feet? Is it 20 feet? Do you have a distance between the BVW and,
Not off the top of my head. If
Post.
I had to guess, Steve,
yeah,
15, 20 feet?
Well,
down
you're
slope?
crossing the stream.
Stream, yeah. So
So
we're
you're going
crossing the
right- you're going
stream.
right over it.
Where we're crossing the stream, it's a little bit tighter. Right?
Yeah.
But they're on the top of the flat area.
Okay.
How wide is that flat area at the top?
It's like 14, 15 feet, flat to flat, edge to edge. Because the other alternative was Jersey barriers, but they take up too much room and then you can't fit.
Hey, could I ask a quick question just to maybe help clarify things? Andy, are these driven posts?
We can do them driven.
That would be the least disturbance if they just drive the post without excavating. You wouldn't have any spoils,
Yeah,
very limited footprint, and it's quick.
Thank you, Art.
yeah, we can drive them.
So I think that it would have no impact, no negative impact if it's 3 days within already disturbed area within the right-of-way. It's necessary infrastructure, so you've also got, the regulations are kind of colliding. So, and with the interest of time, I think showing a nice plan of distances and erosion control and
Come back.
conditioning.
Draw up a plan and submit
RDA.
it. RDA.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just speak for myself that I think that we could issue a negative with within the right-of-way.
Okay. Okay.
temporary impact, so.
We'll
It's up
write up
to
an
you.
RDA, we'll write up an RDA and
Board, anybody else wanna chime in?
Any thought to a wooden guardrail?
You showed the picture, it
we
looks
could.
like wood.
Well, that's just a rendering, but the wood, the metal drives a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't the guardrail have to be at the height of the?
It has to be at 36 inches high, which is the midline of the biggest equipment that would pass out there. And its intent is to be substantial enough that the driver, I'm quoting Hampshire, the operator knows he hit something, they realize it's not going to stop them, but that there's a boundary there.
Jump out.
Yeah.
Are there any different materials for the rail itself other than some flashy, bright?
Well,
Yeah.
with the anticipation of using this, we purchased some used guardrail, which is not the flashy.
But this is almost a temporary fix because they're gonna be filing to improve
Oh, that's right.
that crossing.
Yeah,
That's right.
So this is in the meantime.
this is just so, right, it is what it is, but currently we can't access that portion of the site without violating Hampshire. So we're,
And they're recycling too.
yeah,
Thanks, Art.
thanks, Art.
Yeah, sometimes temporary turns into permanent, and I just wouldn't,
Well, if Andy's moving out of the site, it's gonna be a temporary thing.
All right, all right, we know what to do.
Okay, thank you very much. You can make the check out to Steve and Zis.
Just make sure you advertise.
Okay.
You know, the next meeting is May 10th, so you.
May 8th.
Or May 8th. So get that ad in this week if you needed to, and then follow up with the application and the plan
Yep,
after.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. New
All set with
business.
me?
Yes, Art, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in tonight.
Pleasure. Take care.
Take care. Okay, new business,
6A.
6A, discussion, Douglas Camp meeting, tree leaning over power lines and building. Anyone here on behalf of that item?
Dave Blaney.
Do you want to come up? Come on over. Name and address, and Steve will pull up the plan. Hi, name and address?
Dave Blaney, the camp meeting's at 26 Southwest Main Street.
Okay, and you have a tree issue?
Yes.
Okay.
Steve, you can pull up the pictures.
Just bring it up.
Do you know about how close you are to a wetland?
Yeah. We are within about 90-some feet from the center of the brook. And so
Okay.
the brook is 200 feet on either side.
Okay.
You see this tree? It's hard to see. This one,
Okay.
it's on this hillside and it's pretty much bends right up over, you can't see the wire. There's a
Yes.
transformer here, there's a wire that kind of goes right underneath it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's dropping dead branches already, so want to kind of control drop it, still it goes on instead of it going up, so.
Okay. And did you want to remove the root?
No thought to that.
Okay. All right, so board, I think he's just in requesting that one tree to be removed. It's hazardous and dead, correct?
The top is dying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dropping dead branches, dead limbs, and it's safety hazard for people and infrastructure and homes.
Yep, yeah.
Katie Grace?
Yeah, I have no issue with that. That area is very stable and familiar with the site, and I think that should be no problem.
Okay. So by consensus, this gentleman can proceed with his work for the tree removal and leaving the stump in place? Yes. Good luck. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
Thank you for waiting. Skip them. Okay. Now, public hearing notice of intent, 41 Ledgewood Drive. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on April 10th at 7 PM for a notice of intent filed by Linda Nunes, located at 41 Ledgewood Drive, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law 131, Section 40. The proposed work involves proposed construction of a single-family house and septic system. Construction activities are within 100-foot buffer zone of Manchog Pond. Public participation will be available by attending the meeting at the Town of Douglas Municipal Center located at 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Or pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16, 2021 order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law. General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, the public may participate in this meeting via remote participation. Website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website, douglasma.gov, at least 40 hours prior to the meeting. 317. Welcome, name and address.
Good evening, Margaret Bacon, Civil Site Engineering, and I'm here representing Linda Nunes regarding a proposed house and septic there at 41 Ledgewood Drive, Douglas. Just to get your bearings, I don't know if you're familiar with Ledgewood Drive. It's a private road that comes in off of Northwest Main Street down into Manchog Pond. So here's the pond, here's the site. It's a 2-acre parcel. Right now, so here's the road into the site. There's an existing cottage there now that's in various stages of disrepair. And then there's an old outhouse here. So what the Newtons would like to do is to remove the existing cottage, build a 3-bedroom year-round house right here. Abandon this gravel drive that, here's Manchog Pond, so abandon that gravel drive that comes in this way and put in a gravel drive around the back of the house. New septic system is up here outside the 100-foot buffer zone. Steve had a few comments on the...
Is there a full-size plan?
Is there a full-size plan?
I think we got one.
Yeah.
I got it right here.
I've got a couple here that show the changes that, Steve, you had some comments on. This one here shows,
That's a newer
there wasn't a whole lot of changes, and I'll go over them.
What was the plan date?
The revised date is 4/8. You don't have it on the little one.
Okay,
I've got,
all right.
and so basically, I'll just go over what the changes are. Steve mentioned about the 100-year floodplain on Manchog Pond, and this does, it's one of those zone A's that doesn't have a base flood elevation. So I did put a floodplain elevation on there, and I just making based off the FEMA polyline, and just making a kind of guess that the floodplain runs along the top of the bank, the 100-year flood. Basically, if you look at the FEMA map, that's kind of where it shows it, and that's at elevation 521. So I included that. I extended the erosion control a little more. Steve, you're right, I missed a few spots. The tree line, made some changes with that. And then Steve mentioned about a slurry pit for the existing well. So they're not drilling a new well. They've already had this existing artesian well tested, so that's just staying where it is. Probably going to have to put in just a new water line to the house. Okay, so it's an existing well there. They're not going to be drilling a new one. There's nothing wrong with that well.
So this is the end.
So-
I get the video here.
Sure.
All right, great. And then on the new plan, did you put existing cottage to be raised?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then this is a 10-acre pond, correct? It has its own buffer?
This is Manchart,
Yeah, it has a specialty
was it?
buffer. Yeah, you've got it on here. The pond buffer. Right, 10-acre, right?
No.
Yeah, is
that
that both 100-foot buffer zone, 50-foot buffer zone
50,
from the
100, just normal.
the bank?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Great pond?
Yes,
Well, it's a great
it's 20
pond.
acres or more, right?
Well, I don't know.
Versus, yeah, the Great Pond.
Well, it's a great pond, but they're not doing any work in the pond.
Correct.
Okay.
Just regular wetlands protection there.
And then no land under
They're not doing
water.
They're not doing anything within the.
Yeah.
The only thing is, and if you see the video, that you can, the driveway, that proposed driveway's coming in. No, the other proposed,
Oh, the pros, yeah,
right where the proposed one's meeting the house. When I went out to the site, you'll see it on the video, there's a lot of natural runoff.
Okay.
There's a lot of runoff.
we know, because it's all ledge. And so what happens, it all just runs down to where the outhouse is. And then over the years, it kind of built up with debris, so it would retain that. And so what the new ones did is they kind of raked out some of that old debris, just so that the water then would flow out of there instead of...
Well, yeah, just so you know, because
contained.
it's going right where the house is going.
Correct, and you'll see on the plan, I do take that into account and make sure they got a swale.
Yeah.
Water doesn't get
And
trapped.
then you don't have the, it's right on the water's edge, that little porch detached.
Oh, yeah,
You're not
that's
touching
right.
that.
There is I should have cut that out, but on the water's edge, there is like a little gazebo that's in fairly good shape. The only thing they're gonna do is minor repairs, replace screens, maybe paint.
Okay.
They're not gonna be doing any excavation.
No
or
earthwork.
Removing.
Okay. All right.
Where's the well?
The well is right here.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at the newest one, so you have a stockpile area?
Oh, did I forget the stockpile area?
I don't see it.
All the time. Okay, I can revise the plan, put that down there.
Well, why don't we mark one on that plan that you have up there?
Yeah.
That's the only, the existing tree line is
The existing tree
Shown as
line.
green,
shown in green,
Yeah.
and
no
then
proposed tree line. I don't see it.
will it remain, are you cutting trees to put the new home in? Or is it cleared already?
Well, for the most part, this is all clear.
Yeah, that's
There's
fine.
a little area right here that some of these, where the trees cross the erosion control here, but they'll have to be cut because this all slopes like this. And so we want to make sure we put some type of little swale here so the water doesn't flow right up to the foundation. So we do need a little space between the house and, the limits of grading.
And then you have the limit of disturbance and the erosion controls. What are you proposing for erosion controls? Just a staked straw wattle?
The typical,
You think that's enough with the elevations?
it's pretty flat out there.
Oh, it is, okay.
Where the house is.
541. Oh, I was looking at the little mountain with the driveway cut.
That's all out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah, here's.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this driveway pretty much is outside.
Septic driveway is all outside.
Okay, and then the new plan, do you have the lot closing or you just are ending in the pond?
What do you mean the lot closing?
Does it close? See that point where the well circle is? Up, 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 yeah. Keep going up, up, up to the right. That point.
What about it?
The lot lines,
Oh.
it doesn't close. On the
They don't show
plan.
The entire, wow.
Yeah, actually, it's the edge, the lot line's the edge of the pond, the high water mark.
Okay. That's just a little weird right there.
Yeah, well, so the lot line actually runs along the,
Well, it keeps going north, right? The lot keeps going north.
correct, and then, well, this is, you know.
I'm just looking at that edge.
Oh, the edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the way it's shown is a stone wall and then
I
a space and
I
then,
probably should have
it's
put
okay.
property lines on
It's
it.
all right. Just looking. Okay, board, anything else? It's pretty good?
Where is the actual road, for the road frontage? Where is Ledgestone?
It's a private road, Northwest Maine. Here's this locus right here, Northwest Maine's up here. It comes down Ledgestone, and then it goes over to Ledgewood. It's a private drive.
So is there a turnaround on Ledgestone? Is this the last house on Ledgestone, and is there a
Yeah, there's a
turnaround?
house
Or is
here.
there some,
That's wood.
Ledgewood,
Ledgewood.
I'm sorry, Ledgewood.
Yeah, not
No, there's no
Ledgestone.
turnaround. Just goes, you drive and it goes into a.
You go
path.
into somebody's yard.
No, yeah, or theirs, yeah. If you kept going, you end up into the point.
Okay?
But there'll be a turnaround here with this proposed driveway. So this gravel road now that just goes to the point, it's going to just be discontinued. They're not going to do anything with that.
So I have it on a screen here.
So you should note that on the plan, that that is discontinued, I think, and that you, and what is going to happen to it when it's discontinued? Is it going to be
They're not-
loamed and seeded,
They're not
or
gonna do
trees
anything with it.
planted, or?
They're not going to do anything with it. It's kind of like a little cart path right
Oh.
now, if you can take a look at what Steve
So
shot.
this is pavement
10-foot right of way?
coming down here, and then this is a gravel path to the camp. I'll spin around.
That's the path that I'm asking about?
Yes.
I'm on the path to the house.
Yeah, I think we just say that it vegetates on its own natively. No work to be done.
So the house is going right, pretty much to the right. Remember that debris pile, pretty much?
Yeah.
Is that the water you're talking about,
It
Steve?
is. This was probably,
Is that the outhouse up there?
Yeah, way up in the corner.
That's a lot of rain
It
coming
hadn't
through
rained either, so it's just, must be spring runoff.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it, like I say, it all coming down the hill, and it's all ledge, you know, and it all goes into this little depression.
So this scale of this is 1 inch equals 20 feet?
Yeah.
So I'm seeing 528 to 527. I don't have my scale, but it looks like about 4 inches, so it looks about 1 foot and 80 feet, which is not very much slope that you're proposing for that waterway. So that's still going to be very wet.
For the,
Correct.
for the,
From like where the outhouse is down to the, next to the, where the shed is being removed?
yeah, it is fairly flat, but it's flowing now.
And there's nothing
It'll
going.
flow when we're done. We just don't want to create a situation where we create a dam behind the house. So
Right.
we have to get the water, leave a pathway for it to flow beyond.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that's enough slope, and therefore if you're going to come back and want to do something more because it's wet behind the house.
I don't think so.
No?
And there's nothing going on with this gazebo, this area
No, the
here.
only thing with the gazebo is possibly replacing screens and painting.
Wow, that's an awful lot. Who'd want to ever live there?
Yeah, no, it's over 2 acres too, it's beautiful.
Jeez.
Yeah. John?
Okay, board, other members, any questions or comments, concerns?
We're just
Anything, Eric?
leaving the driveway the
Yeah.
way it is.
Yeah. It's not going to be improved. No improvements proposed made to the existing 10-foot right-of-way.
What does the PC and the ST stand for at the end of the driveway turnaround?
Pump chamber and septic tank. No, that's the pump chamber and the septic tank. It's gonna, I have a force main up into this septic system that's well outside the buffer zone.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mike? Mike?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
all right. Anyone in the audience have questions or concerns regarding this hearing? Anyone online? Questions? Concerns? Raise your hand. Okay. All right, board, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mike,
Second.
second by Eric. All those in favor?
Parasite. McGregor, aye.
Mark Mangumai.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay, and any other conditions besides having the stockpiling outside the 100 in a logical?
No stumping for tree removal?
I'm sorry, what? No stumping for tree removal? There's, the trees that are getting removed are the ones that are at the house location.
Okay.
Also, weren't we going to condition that they had to add to the plan about the raising of the existing cottage?
Oh, I thought the new one had it on there.
What about it?
The revised plan, I thought, had existing cottage to be raised.
To be raised. Should have it. Will have it.
Okay. Yep, that's another condition. Anything else?
What was the first condition?
Just having a stockpile area somewhere outside the 100.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it right here.
Yeah, on the noted plan. I'll entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request by 41 Ledgewood Drive with the conditions that a stockpile area be shown on the plan that is outside of the 100-foot buffer, and that the existing cottage be noted as being raised and removed, and the area restored.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Eric Parasite. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangumai.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Next item, notice of intent, 428 Northeast Main Street, septic repair. Let me read,
I think,
there's no ad?
no ad.
Okay,
Sure there isn't an ad?
no.
428 North?
Do you have one?
Do you have an ad?
What's the date
This
today?
is
Today's the 10th.
420.
Oh, no, it's not.
What's the date?
You requested to continue the meeting.
Well, you know, the thing is, I tried to say it in a few weeks ago, and then they did, the paper didn't put it in, you know, and so I just had to have them redo it again, so.
For May 10th?
It's published today, 4/10. you know,
Oh. Okay, no worries.
No worries.
And it says for today?
so. Yeah, so
It was put in today for today?
this is when they ran it. Originally published at Telegram on 4/10/23.
And it says tonight's meeting?
No, I'm sorry, May
Okay, good. All right, perfect. Thank you.
8th. Yeah.
Ah, I was saying,
I don't have a deed. Do I have a deed?
no,
No.
not that we know of.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. We're going to pass over that. We have next public hearing, 831 Legacy Circle, map 166, lot 15.
So I think they didn't notify all the abutters, so I think they're gonna want to re-notify and re-advertise
Okay,
for
so
May 10th.
no one's
For May
here? Okay, so no one's here for that? Okay. Okay, so we'll pass over that one. RDA continued, 45 Martin Road, Southwick Brook, intermittent stream determination, map 169, lot 23.
8th. You requested a continuance today, I put it on there.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to continue this RDA to May 8th at 7 PM.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark. Second by Eric. All those in favor?
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay, public hearing continue at 8:32, notice of intent, Bald Hill Road, map 215, lot 7.1. Anyone here for that? Hi, welcome. Name and address, please.
Kate O'Donnell from Ecotech.
Welcome. So we had a couple questions. If you want to just review the changes that you've made to answer the board's concerns, that would be great.
I'll just recap the proposed work. It's
Okay,
to
sure.
construct the single-family house with associated site work, including a driveway, septic system, and expanding Bald Hill Road. Some of the, so the engineer added some changes to the site plan to address the commission's comments from the last hearing. We had them include an enlarged detail of the road expansion in the vicinity of the existing crossing, and he added the location of the guardrails that are proposed, and added a more detail of the guardrail installation with a construction sequencing
Yes.
plan for the guardrail specifically, and we also have a general construction sequencing plan on page 2.
Great.
for everything. We also added some details on the tolerancing, the plus minus symbols.
Yes.
Commissioner Dudley brought up.
Yep.
At the last meeting, we added 3 inches tolerance for the width of the road expansion. That's on page 2, I believe. And lastly, we also changed the future barn designation to proposed barn, and the applicant would now like to make that as part of the work
Great.
for this notice.
Makes sense.
I think at this point we've addressed everything from the commission from the last hearing, but if there are any further questions, we'd be happy to address those.
Okay. Steve, anything?
I don't have anything.
Okay, you have the revised plan
I do.
through to what date?
Got it in funky place. 4/2,
Okay,
and I think I have the order of conditions typed up, but it should match.
wonderful. Okay. And board, any other questions?
No.
Katie Grace, the tolerance question? Plus, minus, plus, comma, minus. I don't know why she's echoing.
I know I have to fix my audio. But thank you. No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know why that's echoing. Eric, anything? Mike?
No.
Mark?
No.
Okay, a little bit more detail for clarification. Okay, anyone in the audience have questions or concerns regarding this hearing? Anybody? No? Nope. Okay, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Are you still?
So moved.
Motion made by Katie Grace,
Second.
second by Eric. All those in favor?
Eric Ferris, aye. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Wonjama, aye.
KG Dudley, aye.
And I will entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions for Bald Hill Road.
So moved.
Motion made by Mike. Second by Eric. All those in favor?
Eric Ferris, aye. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Wonjama, aye.
KG Dudley, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay. And notice of intent, 94 Island Road, it's 8:37. Private boat ramp. I don't believe we have any, oh,
Yes, we do.
okay.
First off the press.
What's the revised plan date on that? Today?
2 hours ago.
All set?
Yes, name and address.
Margaret Bacon, Civil Site Engineering, and I'm here representing the Russells. We have a house located at the end of Island Road. It's actually 94 Island Road. It's the peninsula. Actually, you can see it on this locus. It's way out in this finger here out onto Whiting Reservoir. The last meeting I was here, the board requested that if we could do something with some vegetation along the boat ramp where I'm doing some grading to help mitigate some of the bank disturbance. And so all along this bank here is pretty much populated with either mountain laurel or high bush blueberry. So basically, I've just along the slopes right here, I've called for some high bush blueberry, and then also one of the concerns was about having storm water running down the boat ramp. And it is fairly flat up here, so what I did do is I put some spot grades on the plan to ensure that any water from this area stays over here, and then any water that flows off of the septic system flows down this way to keep it outside the boat ramp. Because all you can really do here with pretty much is spot grades, because it is fairly flat. Just so for insurance is to keep water either going this way or stay over there and not come down. I have about a spot grade that's about a half-foot difference right here.
Okay.
And then the DEP had some comments regarding land underwater impacts. Initially, this boat ramp was a little shorter, and I had 120 square feet of impact, so I had to extend it a little, so the boat ramp wasn't that steep, and that's where the discrepancy came from. I bumped it up to 240, and I forgot to change it on one of
The portal. Okay.
And then the DEP had some comments about performance standards with bank and land underwater. And I do have a letter here that I'm going to provide to them and to the board that goes through the performance standards, and in my opinion, I don't believe what we're proposing here impairs the performance standards. It's all within the guidelines of the Wetlands Protection Act. They say you can impact up to 50 linear feet of bank or 10%, whatever's less. And I have about 400 linear feet of bank here, and we're only impacting about 14 linear feet. And then for mitigation measures, we are going to, add shrubbery along the edge of the boat ramp.
What did you say the permissible feet is for impact, for bank impact?
50 feet or 10%, whatever's less.
Oh, okay, okay.
Just I like it.
And you've got 40 feet or 1,400 square feet? Is that what you just said?
I've got, the 400 feet of bank now, so yeah, that would be 10%.
10% would be 40, yep.
And so right now we have only impacting 14 feet.
Okay. Do you have that letter prepared
Yes, I do.
to submit? Okay.
Yep. And then it talks about the carrying capacity of the bank or land underwater, groundwater, and surface water quality, and I don't believe what we're proposing will affect that at all. The only thing is the capacity of the bank to provide breeding habitat and escape cover and food, and that's why we're planting the shrubs right there to help mitigate for that.
Okay. So, I'm looking at a little bit of an old plan, but you still had the land underwater at 240 on this one, and then, what did you say you changed?
I think it was in the NOI, it said 120, it should have been 240.
Okay, but this plan is dated, what date?
This plan is dated 4/8.
The Form 3 was off,
Right, okay, yep.
not the plan.
And then the plan, well, this is an old plan, I
No,
think.
but the plan, I don't think you changed, that's 240 from the original plan.
Correct,
It's
yeah.
always been the same. You just
Okay.
updated it.
There was a discrepancy the DEP picked up on it between the NOI
All right.
application and the plan.
So they picked up that, and then the alternatives, or the,
Just
for impacts, and anything else that they said?
Just the discrepancy with the, right here, it's, the applicant should submit a narrative to the commission, Mass DEP, that demonstrate the performance standards for a bank and land underwater have been met, so that's that letter. The NOI states 120 square feet of land underwater will be impacted, and the plan states 240. The applicant should clarify the total impact and update page 3 of the NOI.
Okay, did you update it?
Not the page, no, just the plan. I'll submit an update.
To the DEP?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll do that. And then it appears that the section of the proposed boat ramp is located on adjacent property, beyond the property line. And I already reached out to the Whitens Water District regarding this project. And basically, they said that, their job was not to impede access to the lake, but to ensure that, water quality is maintained. So
Okay.
they didn't have any issues with this.
Do we have someone from Whiten's Watershed of it wanting to say anything on this hearing?
Yeah, Paul Carr, 150 Northwest Main, Chair of the White Reservoir Water District. We don't have any objection to people or trying to impede any of the progress of people trying to access the reservoir. If it meets the standard of DEP and the Conservation Commission, far be it from the district to have any opposition, because the district doesn't have any enforcement in our act for that anyway. Our act specifically puts us in the purview of the dam operation, dam safety, dam maintenance, and not into structures and, built as long as it's within reason. So,
Okay, very good, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like you have enough on your plate to deal with.
thank you.
Okay, board, anything else? Anyone else from the audience?
What is the spacing of the blueberry plants? Do you have a spacing in
I don't
mind?
have a spacing thing, usually depends on the size of the plants, but you probably want to space them about 10 feet on center, 5 to 10 feet on center.
Yeah, manufacturer directions, best management for plantings.
Yeah. I just don't want them, I don't want 3 of them out there. There needs to be.
Well, so we've got a distance, right? And then the planting directions, the instructions will,
I've got five plantings on each side.
As long as they're big enough.
Along the vegetated area in here, not until we got up into the gravel drive.
Understood.
For 2 reasons, for, mitigation and then also the roots help stabilize the slopes.
if we are ready, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mike,
Second,
second by Mark. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum,
Katie Dudley, aye.
Thank you very much. I will entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions for 94 Island Road.
Yeah, so moved.
Motion made by Mike,
Second.
second by Eric. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum,
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay, thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Have a good night. Good luck. Another item I glossed over was a estimate from Graves Engineering for item number 9. So we've got a scope of services, fees to not exceed $1,700. So,
That's for, which we didn't get to tonight because they continued, that was for, number 9, that was for
Legacy Park,
for him to do.
Legacy Circle.
Yeah.
Yep. So the scope is conduct a reconnaissance site visit, review existing conditions, proposed grading, construction phase erosion controls, review construction details, review documents for compliance, review proposed design of the driveway culvert, including mass river and stream crossing standards, and then 1 round of follow-up review and issue a follow-up review letter. The applicants agreed?
No, I haven't sent it to him yet.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to do it during the public hearing or want
No.
to just forward this to the applicant to see
No.
if we get any comments.
I think we have a motion if the board's wants to move forward, and then you can,
Send it to the applicant.
yeah, and just make sure that they're agreeable. We're not paying for it,
Right.
so, but I think it'll move the project along.
Sure.
Which is, time is money. So I will entertain a motion to accept this scope of services budget not to exceed $1,700 from Graves Engineering for Legacy Circle.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Eric. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum,
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay. So I'll sign this, and then, as long as they're agreeable. Steve, anything else?
No. I don't know, we have someone in the audience, I don't know if I missed it.
Okay. What are you here for, sir?
We got to McIntyre filling wetlands off of Davis Street.
Okay. Not on the agenda, 118, Davis. That was on last meeting,
Couple meetings ago.
or a couple meetings ago?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, because I stopped in the conservation office last week, I got a certified letter. And
Oh,
For zoning board?
that's for number 9, probably.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You got a certified letter, yeah, you're right. They didn't notify, did it say for Legacy Circle?
I'm not sure, it's a project they're working on, they're putting,
In Access Road?
yeah, I think so.
I'm not that right. So they did not notify the
Eric,
abutters
do you
in
want to keep
Uxbridge,
one
so
of those?
the whole thing got continued to, they're gonna open it up on May 8th.
Okay.
But not everybody was properly notified.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, I was too fast on I wasn't sure what you were here for. I'm sorry.
No problem, no problem. So that'll be May 8th on there?
Yeah.
Do you know exactly what they want to do?
I think if you contact Steve, you could give him your email or come in and he can pull the file for you.
Okay.
They're doing a culvert and a stream crossing, right? Driveway culvert.
I don't wanna get too much into
Okay.
public hearing.
Well, the application's for review in the
Yeah,
office.
come into the town hall.
Jen,
Tomorrow night. The
see
town
Jen.
hall's open till 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay,
If you come in, we'll show you the plan.
very good. Thanks, I'm just concerned, I'm gonna butter up there.
Okay, yeah.
To be signed?
Absolutely.
They've cleared an awful lot of land up there already.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm concerned about the impact.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
appreciate
I
it. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Steve, anything else?
That's it.
Katie Grace, anything?
Nope, all set.
Okay.
Katie. Talk to her offline.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Mike.
Okay, side.
All those in favor?
Mike Griffin. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Mark Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye.
Okay. Can we go off record?